Let's play! Whoa!
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. You all may call me Pharaoh, and welcome back to Let's Play Raging Loop. Last time we left off, we held the second feast, and we were deciding who is going to get hanged. And ultimately, even though people are just kind of being irrational and just accusing left and right somewhat, the old man who cried wolf was suspected to be the most suspicious and was chosen to be hung. Mochi was gonna watch out for him as he wanted to prepare himself, get his belongings, whatever. But then we come to find out that both the old man and Mochi were murdered. So, yeah, to say the least, people are very upset, they're very suspicious, and we don't know what the hell's going on. So now it's a new day, and, well, we can only assume that more bad things are happening. I woke up at 5 in the morning. The window was still boarded up, and I couldn't see anything outside. All I could do was sit and wait. Eventually, I could hear the objects keeping me in get removed, and I was greeted by Yosunaga Oribe and Shiame Sarazawa. Those two actually survived. I met up with Haru Makishima, too. Her face was pale, and she had bags in her eyes. No one here looked healthy anymore, and she was beyond even that point. She'd gone completely meek, too. The defiance from yesterday was gone, and she was just letting Yosunaga-kun guide her. She'd lost another friend, after all. We arrived at the dining hall, but found no one there. The door was unlocked, and that was a bad sign. It was Kanzo Mikishima's place all over again. Mom should be sleeping upstairs. With that knowledge, I opened the door. Uh-oh. What if she was attacked? Even if she wasn't, considering her state yesterday, it wasn't unlikely she did something unthinkable, such as suicide. However, I soon found out my worries were for nothing. Kirori-san was standing all alone in a dark dining hall wearing an apron. The fact that she wasn't doing anything but standing was just eerie. And honestly, look at her eyes, like she's freaking me the hell out. Oh my, good morning. She turned around and greeted us. Her voice was the only thing calm about her. Her eyes were bloodshot and signs of malnourishment were all across her face. Her faint, forced smile made her seem on the verge of collapse. She completely failed at acting normal. Her heart was probably swirling with panic and sorrow as great as yesterday. Everyone here could see it. Mom, everyone's hungry. I'll make food, so you just rest. Huh? But I can do it myself. Oh, I'll help. I actually cook for myself, so I know what to do. After they volunteered to support Kiori-san, I thought about what purpose I could serve here. Let's go. And call the Haru-chan before going outside. She came with me, but wasn't saying a word. During yesterday's feast, she had a fight with Kiori-san, the woman who had voted for Haru-chan due to the change in her attitude and failed escape attempt, and I couldn't blame her for that. Considering her personality, I imagined that the exchange had been extremely intense. That was why getting her out of the dining hall was a good move. Problem was, we didn't really have anything to talk about. This was made worse by hostility she showed me just until recently. According to Mochi, that was a product of her affection toward Yasunaga-kun and all the drama surrounding him. Normally, I'd playfully give her a hard time about that kind of thing, but it seemed in poor taste considering the situation. She was staring daggers at me. Maybe I just had to ask her. Haru Makishima-san. What? I'll be frank. Are you a wolf? No! She didn't hesitate at all. Not like that meant anything. What, you don't believe me? Then Takumi will check. That'll show you. Are you saying that despite knowing? Huh? Knowing what? If he were alive, He'd been the one looking after Kyoto-san in the dining hall. Yesterday, he went there first thing in the morning. With Kyoto-san in her current state, that was all the more reason for him to be there. But now he's missing. No way! That's just... We'll go check to be sure. Lead the way. Okay. Taba, are you awake? Haru knocked on the door and tried to open it, but it was locked, meaning it wasn't touched. Ta-san came out sooner than later. She looked pretty displeased to begin with, but upon seeing me, she displayed outright disgust. What are you doing here? Sorry. Kyoto-san isn't well. We needed more people. Where's Takumi? We're gonna check on him. I see. Her gloomy expression told me she'd realized what might have happened. She said she had to prepare and we excused ourselves. Please ask if you need anything. Oh yes, of course. She shut the door on us. You're nice to all women, aren't you? What the hell was she saying? Being considerate of elders and women is a gentlemanly thing to do. Is that how you feel about Chiene? Well, I like her quite a lot. Please don't. I'd feel so bad for Nichan. Nichan? Yoshinaga-kun surely. What do you mean by that? Yoshikun and Mochi are gone. Kirori-san and Chiene are all he has left. Also, she's the strongest among us, and she's always protected us from the people of Kamafujiyoshi and adults. Don't take her away from us. So that's how it was. I wasn't sure how she actually felt about Chiemi, but there were definitely more trust and reliance than I expected. Yoshinaga-kun spoke like he'd given up on Chiemi, but deep down, he was actually glad she'd returned. Haru-chan was aware of that, and she actually liked Chiemi. That was why she concluded that they should be together. However, it was clear that she didn't feel like giving them her blessing. I understand how you feel. The end result depended on Chiemi, and since she hated Yasumizu, I felt like it wouldn't be something Haru-chan wanted. Then again, I really didn't know what was going on in Chiemi's head either, and I had no idea who would survive, so making predictions was a waste of time. Well, for now, everyone should focus on ending the feast. I don't think I can do much, but if there's something you don't want to tell your own, I'm willing to listen. Huh? What do you mean? Nothing much. It just feels like you have a lot to worry about. And personally, I still think that escaping outside is a good idea. That's not possible. Didn't you try yourself? But I failed, didn't I? They made me realize we can't escape. Isn't that because you just happened to hurt your foot? It didn't just happen. Do you believe in God, too? What did you just say? God doesn't exist. If I doubted that, I just couldn't cope with anything. There was a weird aura around her for a sec, but then she walked away, leaving me no choice but to follow her. We arrived at the houses. The mysterious girl was on the verge of crying. Good morning. What's wrong? Speak normally. You know how to, right? Ugh. Come on, be more mature. Repeat after me. Good morning. This was hopeless. Haru-chan glared at her while I stayed patient. Where's Rikaku-san? Oni-chan? Yeah, where is she? She hasn't come out. Her house is right here. It really was. I've been here yesterday. I knocked and called out to her. There was no response. Haru-chan and I looked at each other and tried opening the door. Huh? It was locked. Rikaku-san! Still no response. I hesitantly put my ear against the door. I heard some sort of rustling sound. She's probably getting dressed. Then, he really did. We don't know for sure. It could still be Kiyonosuke-shi. What about me? Well, I did expect him to live. Is Rikaku-san well? She's all you care about, isn't she? And yes, she does seem to be alright. She's not out yet, though, so I wonder what's up. I had a bad feeling about something. Good to see it was nothing. Does this mean that the one to die was Lady Yamawaki? Taba was alive. What? Why was he so positive? Haru-chan, take Miko to the dining hall. Kiyonosuke-san, help me out. Yeah, something... I think maybe he's the one killing people. Like, outside being a wolf, maybe. He tried to say something, but decided against it. He must have realized what had happened to the one who usually be given these annoying jobs. As expected, the door to his house is unlocked. And the reek of fresh blood was so strong you can smell it outside. I thought that was enough to help me prepare, but once I saw the source, I couldn't keep down what few contents of my stomach had left. The two from the very first day, Kanzo Makashima and Yoshisugu Oribe, they lost all semblance of form to the point their corpses felt unrealistic. On the other hand, Chikamochi Kamoshida and the old guy's wolf corpses were far too clean. Their faces were still intact after all. However, Takumi Muro-san's corpse was even more balanced between ruined and intact. It was spread out on the floor, surrounded by splashes and splotches of blood, as well as some bloody footprints. Scattered brain, gray matter, bone fragments, eyes, and 60% of his face was gone. This time, the method was clear. There was a rifle lying right next to his corpse. The weapon was actually on the scene for once, and it was a gun. What did it mean? I wanted to think about that, but I was too shaken by the clear agony Takumi-san's death had brought him. We can see his suffering on the still present half of his face. His hands were on his head too, as if to cover his face, or reach for the clearly fatal wound. He died while holding onto his shattered brain. Jeez. I know that the very beginning of the game, it did warn us about, like, it talks about descriptions of grotesque horror. Not like actual visuals, but like the explanations of this. And frankly, I feel like the only other game that I've known that's done something like this was 999. They still had some pretty disgusting imagery here and there, but they kept it pretty... They didn't show everything, but they described it pretty damn well. And, I mean, it allows your brain to fill in the images, right? And it can make it even a lot worse than what it actually is. So, I give props to that. Though fatal, the first attack hadn't killed him instantly. He could still move after it, which was a testament to his strength and willpower. His life had ended as he suffered overwhelming despair. It was written all too clearly in his death visage. His emotions bubbled and overwhelmed my thoughts, and I vomited once again. Are you okay? Kiyonosuke asked, clearly avoiding looking at it himself. Bring me someone who can use guns, please. I never expected you to come along. Her expression was too stern and serious for me to even say that. Takumi-chan? Shit! She cursed and looked at the gun. This is Kanzo Jishan's rifle. She grasped her long body and picked it up. All the 5 bullets were fired. See any empty cartridges? I'll look around. I found them really quick. They were covered in blood and flesh, but yeah, I found the metallic cylinders. 5 of them. They were 2 meters away from the corpse, very close to one another. Even the culprit fired from there. Either the culprit fired from there or gathered them afterwards. Look at the handle. Shimi extended a rifle to him. I did as told. Compared to the rest of the gun, which had blood on every part, the handle was clean, like it had been wiped. They removed the fingerprints? Probably. Shimi then held it like she was about to shoot and aimed at Takumi-san's body. It was fired from here. How can you tell? The way the blood scattered. See how it's concentrated around there? It's proof the culprit fired from a low angle. Also, normal rifles can't make such a huge mess unless they're fired from really close. But make it point blank and the stuff will get on and around the muzzle. The rifle will be even dirtier. And that was why it was natural to think it had been fired from where she was standing, near the cartridges. Can you actually aim and hit something with this? As long as you know how to aim and the target isn't moving, that's all you need. So, this was done by someone who knows how to use guns. By the way, it's just a matter of looking at the bead through the sight. Guns are useful little toys that make murder so easy anyone can do it. What about loading? That doesn't seem like something a layman can do. Is it? Good point. But even Tabe-chan has experience firing a gun. Finding a culprit in Yasumizu won't be easy. This was a settlement where the people went hunting. Basically everyone here must have touched rifles before. All we could really assume was that Miko-chan couldn't have done this. And it's not like every bullet hit the head. One grazed the ear, one hit the chest, one hit the shoulder. Oh, and look here, a bullet hole. She pointed at a small part of the floor that was ruined. So only one hit the head. Yeah, I think that one wasn't fatal though. It was probably the one in the chest that ended it. She looked at the body's pose and made the same conclusion as me. Why do you know so much about guns anyway? I have a hunting license. I know how to use guns, traps, and nets. I used to do lots of skeet shooting outside of Yasumizu. I'm pretty good with a gun. Well, damn. Didn't expect that. I can understand why. Did you plan to return here and become a hunter? I just want to have a gun. That's it. She said that as it was no big deal. Because we also got to remember, at least from what I understand, owning a firearm in Japan is, like, not impossible at all, but it's really difficult. So I understand from, like, various videos and what from people have told me, like, you need to go through such a rigorous process, and they, like, interview you, like, everybody you know, like, just so much. And that's just for, like, a handgun for self-defense, I believe. Now, regarding a hunting village, I don't know, actually. That might have its own set of regulations, and maybe it's easier or even harder for those. I don't know. But, well, if you guys know, feel free to let me know. Her tones seemed kind of dangerous. Yeah, that's right, like she almost killed somebody, yeah, grabbed a... yeah. It was the impression you'd get from a girl capable of random acts of violence. I was probably jumping to conclusions, though. Can we clean it up now? If you're fine with it. Let's do it then. Did you find out anything? I'm now 100% certain that these murders were committed by people. The culprit used a gun and wiped off the fingerprints. Acts that demonstrated a very human level of cunning. If we were up against something supernatural, they'd just use their mysterious powers instead. If something mysterious can be explained through using mundane means, then it was caused by mundane means. That was a general rule I lived by, proven through both knowledge and first-hand experience. Supernatural powers that require carrying out occult rituals are prime examples of things that apply to. The more detailed preparation required, the more opportunities to notice something's amiss. If the trick relied on concealing a method, it was safe to assume the method was something mundane. Even this death wasn't caused by some kind of supernatural force. It just happened unobserved. We had people who could do it, and the methods that fit. That was the best way to look at it, right? Maybe you're right. You agree? I do think that it was done by people I know. By actually humans. But didn't that go against her whole God story? I wanted to ask that, but seeing her eyes made me fall silent. Her eyes were wide and cloudy. But... Her lips let out clear words. No one... I looked away. I probably wanted to cover my ears too. can escape God. I found her words so irrational it began to frighten me. I asked Shiumi to call Kiyonosuke-shi to help carry the corpse, but she insisted on doing it herself. I caved and we began the unpleasant task. Following Takumi-san's example, I removed the door and placed his body on it. Shiumi and I each took an end of the door and lifted it up. He was as heavy as he looked, but I wouldn't have been surprised if this was too much even for two men. However, Shiumi lifted her side without letting out a single grunt of exertion. It felt like active rejection of the idea that she might need help. We slowly began walking. Kiyonosuke-shi was outside. He was anxious about something. It didn't look like he was waiting for us, so maybe Rikaku Uematsu hadn't come out yet? I couldn't afford to stop and chat. Relaxing my arms or lower body could lead me to drop into Takumi-san. I kept walking forward without a single word. Sighing and stopping was our sign that one of us needed to rest. Every time one of us did it, we lowered him to the ground, rubbed our aching hands, adjusted our grips, and resumed walking. As we approached the cliff, Shiumi's expression grew darker. Takumi Nichan was the youngest of the adults. He was like an older brother to me. I wasn't going to ask how that mattered. I didn't see a point in questioning it. I simply nodded, continuing to play the role of audience. He played with me a lot and always protected me when the other adults got mad at me. There's nothing good about this human place, but he loved Yasumizu and the people living there. Yeah, I could tell. He was honest to a fault. Yeah. I don't want to just throw him away. Of course you don't. I don't like this either. Should we stop? The only ones who really care about this are Takumi-san himself and Tai-san, right? No, we gotta do this. 'Cause of the corruption? Yeah. I continued asking if she was sure, but she didn't change her mind. So we ended up throwing his body into Saranaga. We walked through the graveyard, careful not to trip. We could now see the hanging pine through the mist. Our destination was near. We carefully closed it on the cliff and pushed the door toward it. Bye, Takumi-ni-chan. She said that right as I felt the body slide off. It was falling. I'd done this several times now, but it still made me feel empty. It would eventually hit the water, make a splash, and that'd be it. Huh? Did you hear the water? Not sure. Did we both miss it somehow? Or maybe the bottom of Saranaga opened up to a yawning chasm leading to Yomi. You've got quite the imagination. No one knows what's beyond the mists. There could be anything out there. Should I go down and take a look? You won't return. That was how she saw the world. Let's go back. No, wait a minute. I felt like they just kind of skipped something huge there. Like, did his body not go into the Saranaga? Like, what happened? Oh, well. We returned to do another investigation at Takumi-san's house, but something strange had happened while we were gone. Kiyonosuke-shi was still in the same spot, in front of Rikaku Uematsu's house, waiting for her without even trying to hide his frustration. She still hasn't come out? No! You're the one who said she seemed alright! What made you think that? I heard sounds. Why didn't you call out to her yourself instead of just waiting? As if I could do something so rude. Then why is she the only one you're nice to? Nosato is above Uematsu, isn't it? That was an interesting bit of info. I hadn't realized that the head families had a hierarchy. Sorry guys, I thought I heard something. It's only natural to be considered a woman. I'm a woman too, though. I don't see a reason to be considered someone so hostile toward me. Do you? Oh, please stop. We just finished putting a body to rest. That was probably one of the reasons why they were so agitated, but my comment was enough to shut them up. Though, yes, I'm worried too. She might need help if she's sick or injured. We may have no choice but to barge in. How improper! Was he the type of guy to report someone who unjust a girl to give her proper first aid? What was up with this guy's priorities? Uematsu-san! Rikaku Uematsu-san! I bashed the door almost violently. I heard the sound of rustling clothes. Had she collapsed or something? Uematsu-san, I'm opening the door! No answer again. Only sounds. Was it really Rikaku Uematsu in there? Let's break it down. Shiimi nodded, while Kiyonosuke Ishii gave a disgruntled sigh. The door was made from a thin plywood and in a wooden frame. A solid impact would break through. I looked around and saw a few aged farming tools lying against some houses. The old wooden hoe and mallet were too rotten to work here. But the old axe looked just right. 1, 2... I lifted the axe and started counting, but had to stop midway. There was a sound of clattering. The door suddenly moved. Surprised, I jumped backwards and glanced at the other two. They were just as shocked, if not frightened. What's that? No, what's that? What do you mean? It has to be Rikaku-san. Uematsu-san! There was no response at first, but a few seconds later, the door shook again. A moment later, it fell silent once more. Had she collapsed on the door? If she wasn't well and was lying next to the door, breaking it open was dangerous. I put the axe down and walked up to the door again. The moment I approached it, I heard a clicking sound. I didn't even have time to question what had happened before it creaked open. There was a gap of about 20 centimeters, and it was pitch black inside. And there was a face all covered in blood. See, okay, this is one of the first images in the game that's actually pretty damn creepy. And whatever Rikaku's doing here, like, wait, was she the wolf, maybe? It sunk back into the darkness the very next moment, but it was soon replaced by an inhuman scream and an arm that snaked out and grabbed from my neck. The grip had inhuman strength behind it. I ignored Shiimi and Kiyonosuke Ishii's screams and tried to pry myself free. My throat was on the verge of crushing. The groans continued ceaselessly. The nails dug into my neck, and I was being dragged inside. Help! How the hell was she so strong? The arm clearly belonged to Rikaku Uematsu, so why? Help me! My words got them out of their stupor, and they ran up to me. As panic and lack of oxygen dimmed my vision, they grabbed, bashed, and tugged at the arm that was holding onto me. Damn it! Hey, let go! Just one finger! I don't know how long it took, but when I was eventually freed, Shiimi swiftly slammed the door shut. Bring something I can use to bar the door! Like what? Oh, just shove the axe in it! Sitting on the ground in shock, I simply stared at their exchange. I could still barely breathe, my vision was hazy, and I couldn't think clearly. Something inside was trying to get the door open and possibly escape. What it was, though, I had no idea. What had happened to Rikaku Uematsu? How about this? Masato-san, hold it shut! I'll bring the others and we'll barricade it. Haruaki-san, are you alright? Can you stand? Yeah. Actions were more important than words here. Stealing my resolve, I rose to my feet. We gathered everyone who could still move and sealed off Rikaku Uematsu's door and windows and planks, with planks, nails, large farming tools, and whatever else we could find. The small house was basically a pile of flimsy barricades now. Everyone was tired from all the work and sat down to rest. What's the point of doing this, though? Someone asked. We could still hear groans and crashing sounds from the inside. No one answered the question, but we all understood that letting that thing out would be a mistake. But what exactly was it, anyway? Ayomi Bito? That seemed like an answer. Of some sort, anyway. What do you mean? Corrupted folk that came from Yomi. You know, don't you? Has to be a Yomi Bito, that. That's not what I mean. Yomibito are the wolves, right? They came back to life because of the grudge over being killed during the feast. It's not always like that, Haru-chan. Yasumizu has always been menaced by Yamabito. Or maybe this is a corruption. Uematsu-sama might have broken an important law. That can't be. Protecting the laws is the role of the purifying spider family. But that might be it. She touched too much of the corruption. But that's... She might have come to Yasumizu to keep at least a bit of the Yomi's corruption away. How many Yomibito will we have now? Takumi was a good boy. Maybe it's a good thing he died before seeing hell. Thus I offer homage to Shinai the Almighty so peace may come to pass. Thus I offer homage to Shinai the Almighty so peace may come to pass. A silent prayer. Her eyes were teary and her shoulders were shaking. Wait, that Rikako-san is... Yomibito must be hanged. That didn't sit right with me. The rule was that breaking the laws meant getting the corruption, and getting the corruption meant being slaughtered, right? It was the first time I've heard it was possible to do something about the corruption and that she died because of that. Logic had little ground here, so the people were gradually losing their minds. They were being pushed closer to death. It was like this was a supernatural phenomenon. Dude, I'm telling you, Kyoto, she is freaking me the hell out. Is anyone hungry? I've already calmed down, so we can do the rest after you calm down as well. It was a very attractive suggestion. As we all turned away and returned to the dining hall, I felt like Rikaku Yamatsu let out groan even more inhumanly loud than any of those before. Once we arrived, the place was dominated by a heavy silence. There were sounds coming from the kitchen. A kitchen knife rhythmically hit the cutting board as Kyoryu-san prepared the food. Tai-san was seated away from everyone, desperately, but yet fluently chanting a sutra. Combined with the kitchen sounds, it had a mind-numbing effect. Everyone else was simply falling into a torpor, staring silently into space. Even I, the sanest person in the room, wanted to simply let my mind shut down and stop thinking. That wouldn't stop me from trying, though. Rather than trying to evaluate the details, I decided to return to square one and summarize the current situation. Takumi-san was dead. That left me, Shime, the two Orobes, Kiyonosuke-shi, Tai Yamawakashi, Miko, Rikaku Yamatsu, and Haru Mikashima. A total of 9. And Rikaku Yamatsu, well, I didn't want to say she'd become a Yomibito or something, but it was clear that she was in a condition that left her functionally useless. Normally, the right thing here to do would be to take her to a hospital, but instead, they were going to discuss killing her. I'd probably have to remind them of the sound's course of action. Whatever the case, if you ignored Rikaku Yamatsu and I, only 7 people were participating in the feast. With Takumi-san's death, we would never know what the snake found out about Haru Mikashima. Therefore, the only confirmed people were Kiyonosuke-shi, a human, and Miko, a monkey. And personally, I thought I could trust Shiame, so that made 3. That left 4 others. This was bad. I wondered if Shiame understood that. I had to talk to her in private. But where's Oni-chan? We've kept Miko away from all that happened this morning, but so she was still in the dark about Rikako-san. She's not feeling too good. Leave her in peace. Okay. Hey, can I go outside? Isn't it dangerous? I'll look after her. She'll be safe if she stays close. The 2 left. See, now look at her now. She looks kind of okay, but when she was in the mist, she looked... Yasunaga. What? There's something I want you to fetch. I'm going to use the bathroom. More and more people left. They probably didn't feel comfortable standing up until now. Tai-san just continued chanting, though. It was like she lived in another world. Besides her, all that was left was... Haru-chan. The way she constantly shifted in her seat made it clear she felt uncomfortable. Sorry about Takumi-san. I tried talking to her. Yeah, she and he always relied on him. What about Rikaku Uematsu-san? I didn't like her. She creeped me out. Chihime-san seemed fine with her, though. Well, that's because she's strong. When did Uematsu-san arrive here? 2 or 3 years ago? Not recently, at least. That seemed like plenty of time to get to know a person, if you ask me. Or maybe not. Yasumizu's people had been suffering at the hands of the village heads for generations. Of course I couldn't just accept her. I hear she's one of the village heads, but what kind of family are the Uematsu anyway? What do you even want to know? How many times do we have to tell you that you're an outsider and we should just stay out of all this? Oh, sorry. That was insensitive of me. Let's talk about something else then, alright? Fine. I looked around. As I saw Yasunaga-kun walk upstairs, I lowered my voice and asked, what was Mochi to you? Well, why are you asking? To make up for this lack of funeral. Huh? In funerals, you talk about the people who passed away, right? I remember hearing that gives their souls peace. This is unexpected. What is? I thought you were cold and heartless. I didn't think I'd hear something about peace in the afterlife from you. That was just rude. Moki was a Masato, but he never acted like he was better than anyone. He was weird and as much as a troublemaker as Shiini, but he never hurt anyone. Everyone said he wasn't right in the head, but I don't think so. He was really funny. I think he would have been really popular if he appeared on TV. He was 1 year older than me, but he treated me like someone his own age. I'd always had tons of fun with him. You know, I know he's meant to be like a high school student, but I give him a voice as he's like younger because that's kind of his appearance in my opinion. Whatever. He got along really well with Nichan too. He did? Yeah. They were always together and they were like a pair of heroes in school. They got along so well that I sometimes felt lonely with them. Her visage dimmed. I felt like she was easier to understand than most. If Mochi had really liked her, it must have been a tough love. She hadn't even looked at him in that regard, and being with Yasunaga-kun even made him a target of her own jealousy. But he's gone now. Yasunaga-kun must feel terrible. Yeah. Why not help him out? Yasunaga-kun was going up the stairs again. I gestured at him with my chin. Huh? He's doing something for his mom, and Shiime-chan's outside. I don't think you can replace Mochi, and Shiime-chan's probably the best person for the job. But even if they are the ones who will make the final decision, there's no reason to hold yourself back in the meantime, right? You want to help him, don't you? Yeah. You too? Well, Shiime gave me way more than a meal and a place to stay. I won't say I don't have any ulterior motives, but more than that, I just want to support her. She seems to be suffering at the hands of things I can't even comprehend. Yeah, I think I misunderstood you. I can't blame you. Are you going? Yeah, I still need to apologize for yesterday. Then I'll go outside too. We stood up at the same time. Though Haru-chan was always on edge, deep inside, she was a really honest girl. I worried that she'd fall victim to some scumbag like me down the road. Oh! What? Maybe you should run away. Never mind. Forget I said anything. She cut herself short and hurried upstairs. Apparently, I'd gained some sort of her trust, but it didn't look like I could get anything more useful than that bit of advice. Unlike the other inhabitants, she just believed that escape was possible. That was why she'd tried to do it yesterday. That might have been the extent of it. So, who do you suspect? Haru-chan and Yasunaga-kun. I walked up to Chiime, who was looking after Miko, and we started a conversation. I can understand Haru-chan, but Yasukun? We have 4 suspects. Tai-san, Karori-san, and them. He was the only one out of those who was outside when Mochi died yesterday. And considering how cunning the wolves are, I can't imagine it being anyone but him. He's that devious? Yeah. Really? Why did Takumi-san die today? Huh? What do you mean? He was obviously killed by the wolves. That's not what I'm asking. Huh? What do you mean? Oh, I think I get it. Because the spider didn't protect him. Right. The spider is probably already dead. Huh? Now wait. When you think about it, on the first day, Takumi-san was protected by the spider. And yesterday, no one actually said the spider should protect someone else, right? Yeah. That means the spider wants to get protected Takumi-san. He's way too valuable. At least, that's what should have happened if the spider was still alive. Well, that's true. Now, since the feast started, the ones who died before Takumi-san were Kanzo-san, Yoshisugu-kun, Mochi, and the old man who cried wolf. One of those 4 was the spider. The wolves realized this, killed him, and then went for Takumi-san. That's the only logical explanation. Huh? Aren't you overthinking it? What if they just assumed the spider was gone because 4 people died? That's the optimistic take, but if we're actually dealing with someone clever, underestimating them would be a fatal mistake. But how'd they find out who the spider is? You're too loud. It's nothing, Miko-chan. She resumed scribbling on the ground. She was completely absorbed in it for some reason. I want to know what the hell she's scribbling in the ground. Watch it be like something super important. I think it's likely if the wolves guessed who the spider... Wait, that's... Never mind. I think it's a lot likely the wolves guessed who was the spider. But how? You told me that on the first day, Kanzo-san let Yasunaga-kun talk for most of the feast, and only made the final decision, right? He looked like a more protective type to me. I doubt he'd agree to not hang anyone on the first day. Yeah, well, that's true, but what about it? If he'd spoken up and taken the initiative, he could have easily controlled the situation. And most of his decisions would have been good calls. Excuse me. That was why he was such a good target for the wolves. That's what we thought, right? Well, that's true, but we also thought the same about Yasukun. Well, on the other hand, if you're a wolf, you have no chance of becoming a target for the wolves. It's more dangerous for them to not say anything important and look suspicious. Giving away harmless info, for one, is way better. That's the clever thing to do. Don't you think? But how's that related to Kanzo Ji-chan and keeping his silence? Well, this is all just speculation, but I think he kept quiet to avoid calling attention to himself so the wolves wouldn't target him. Why would he... Wait, hold on. Who said that before? No, never mind. Why would he do that? Because he felt that his survival was intrinsically linked to that of the others. Because he had a guardian? Yeah, and it was probably the spider. Hold on, let me check in the log here really quick. So basically, they're saying it because Kanzo kept quiet. It seemed like he was more likely the one who was a spider. Maybe. But damn. Well, wait a minute. But he was the first one to go. So would a spider still be able to protect whoever if they died that night anyway? I don't know if that's how it works. But why are you so confident? The spider is the most vulnerable participant in the feast. After all, the one person it can't protect is themselves. But as long as identity was hidden, he had the possibility of making the wolves waste a night. That was probably why he tried not to stand out, but it worked against him and attracted the wolves' attention. He, of all people, is quiet. He must have been an amazing guardian. He must have an amazing guardian, and all that. That led to the wolves taking him out on the first day, and then taking out Takumi-san, now defenseless on the second. I know that's just speculation, but I kind of feel like you're right. If even that was planned by the enemies, it's best to assume that anomalies, too, have all been shortcuts to the wolves. What do you mean? Too many people died outside the rules. Yoshisugu-kun, Mochi, the old wolf guy, and Rikako Yamatsu. She's effectively dead now. To the wolves, unplanned deaths are a good thing. The less feasts they have to survive, the lower the chance they'll be hanged. Then what if they plan for those people to die? Well, I see your point, but how could they pull it off? If they could tell Yoshisugu-kun to walk around outside at night, basically sending him to corruption. I don't know the motive behind Mochi and the wolf guy's deaths, but it all makes sense if they were killed by Rikako Yamatsu. What? Tai-san talked about Iomatsu's role and thought she fell to the corruption because of it, but there's a more reasonable explanation. If she killed the two, she'd have broken the feast's rule of one person per day and become a target of corruption. I put aside the idea that there were apparently two types of corruption, slaughter and madness. But how? Did you see the clothes she wears? She would have had the time to change. Wouldn't have the time to change. And there's no way she could have won against two men, right? Now how about this? Mochi or the wolf guy killed the other, and the one who survived was killed by her. She became the target of the corruption for drawing the blood of a second person in one day. I don't know about the clothes, but it could be solved by a large apron or something. We can't say it's impossible until we verify it. But even a single guy sounds like too much for her. Well, one of them was senile, though. Or maybe they were weakened from trying to kill each other. Kill? What? How could you think something like that? Again, it's all just speculation. I don't even know the motive, but it does make sense. But how is that related to the wolves' conspiracy? I don't know the motive here either, but if they knew her weakness or something, they could have goaded her into killing them. Or maybe she was a wolf herself. Shimi was at a loss for words. I had no choice but to continue myself. She could have hastened the whole process to give the other wolf an advantage. I really doubt that. Getting themselves killed would be really bad for the wolves. True. Considering the number of wolves and humans, losing one wolf to take out two humans isn't a good deal. But there's no guarantee that everyone would realize that. Not everyone acts logically. There's lots of illogical stuff going on, and predicting their effects is impossible. No, I don't want to hear that. But you can't give up now, can you? I don't want to think anymore. Sorry. I said too much. Don't worry. I'm the one who should be sorry. But, yeah, this is a bit hard for me. I really don't think you people need to keep playing along with this. I'll help you escape if you want. We can't. I just know that if you're born here, you're fated to die here. That's just a baseless delusion. Someone who can't see God would never understand. Yeah, I won't. How troubling. It really was troubling. If this was the same tabletop fun for the whole family game, I'd have already punched the GM and left. But lives were actually on the line here. Not just my own, but also that of someone I kinda liked. We've made it this far, yet she was uncooperative. Maybe I was going about this wrong? Maybe if I wanted to save her life, I had to start by saving her from the darkness within. Or maybe from the unidentified supernatural phenomenon that was binding her? Though that didn't seem like something that could be done in just 3 or 4 days. Still, I'd struggle until the very end. I couldn't participate in the feast myself, so I had no choice but to leave it to Chiyomi. I didn't say anything more to her. I just chose to believe she'd overcome her inner conflict soon. Meanwhile, Miko's drawing had grown so large it felt like she got lost in the mist. Hey! I left Chiyomi and went to Miko. Bye! She waved at me. Good thing she was kind of used to me now. What are you drawing?
Those are guardians.
Guardians? One drawing showed a warped circle of a line just as strange as going... Wait. One drawing showed a warped circle of a line just as strange going through it. But I could see what it was. It looked much like the Higuchi family crest I saw in the dining hall. There were 4 of them. Apparently. The others were hard to differentiate. Oh, that whirling drawing was the same one as the one on the stone. The symbol of the Yasumizu Okami. I see. Shinai-sama's guardians. Did Oni-chan teach them to you?
Yeah.
What about these? They're not guardians, are they?
They're cattle.
I certainly wasn't expecting her to hear such a vivid word from a girl about 4 years old. Animals, huh?
Yeah. This is a cow.
Mm-hmm.
This is a donkey.
Oh.
This is a pig.
Ah. The ground wasn't the best canvas, and the little girl wasn't the best artist. All I could really tell was that they all had 4 legs. And this is?
Me.
It had 4 legs, though. Well, whatever. No, wait, listen. Okay, see? Something like that, even though it's like, oh, it might be just a cutesy moment, I feel like that's hinting at something. I don't know. And this? It's bigger than the others.
A wolf.
Oh, a light chill went down my spine. Huh? Why a wolf?
Because the wolf is coming.
Huh? The wolf is coming. That's what the old man used to say. That was like...
Because the wolf is coming, I had to run far, far away.
Wait, hold on, Miko-chan. You know the wolf?
I haven't met him, but I know he's scary.
Is this the same wolf as we have here?
Bah?
Where's the snake and monkey?
I don't know.
What does the wolf do?
Eat the cattle?
Eat?
Yeah, they said the horse was eaten.
Apparently, this had nothing to do with Fujiyoshi's legend. I had no idea if this was from a picture book or her imagination, but there was barely any links between the stories. Maybe I was rushing to conclusions? Who told you this story?
It really happened.
Where then?
Far away.
Far away, huh?
I've been walking for so long.
Well, it didn't look like I could get any details from her. If far away referred to the land of myth and actually had truths regarding Fujiyoshi's legend that weren't told here, what the hell was I thinking? Land of myth? Ah, stupid. I should just calm down and file it under more info that made no sense to me. I see. It must have been hard.
I'm hungry.
Same here. Let's go back.
Okay.
As we turn around, I saw Shime stand up in the mist again and hesitantly beckon us. Looks like the food's ready. Kiinosuke Shi was standing at the entrance to the dining hall wearing a gloomy expression. He was never particularly vigorous, but now his visage was haggard, and he wasn't nearly as arrogant as before. I couldn't blame him. The only person he was friendly, flirtatious to, Rikako Yamatsu, was in an awful state. Also, despite all he'd said, he'd actually relied on Takumi-san. They seemed to be close in terms of age, too. Really? I guess so. And from what I have heard, he'd never really said anything wrong. The only problem was his insensitive choice of words. The feast was a communication game. Even if you were right about something, it didn't matter much if you couldn't convince anyone. Thank you very much. Still, he was one of the mere 2 confirmed humans. Treating him badly and making him upset wouldn't help at all. I had to be courteous. Let's go.
Yeah.
Hungry, aren't we, Miko-chan? Shime had calmed down a bit. I'd already told her my suspicions. I now had to hope she handled the feast well. All that was left now was to get some nutrients to support my hard-working brain. Right? Oh man, where am I at time? I'm almost at an hour. I'll go for a little bit longer.
I'm sorry I couldn't prepare anything better.
She ladled what appeared to be rice gruel of a large pot. It was a thick white soup of vegetables, rice, and something brown inside.
Game meat. Is it fermented? Yes, the fresh meat was spoiled.
Chiime-chan. I whispered her. What do we do?
What do you want to do?
We were talking about the thing where I had to avoid the local food. You know what? I'll stick to my diet until the end this time.
Okay, thanks.
What did I mean by this time? Did I think I had another life or something? Well, it was fine. It wasn't like I was cool with dying just on the off chance I got a second shot. Dying was an acceptable option. I wasn't about to compromise on that. There's no point in walking around, so I'll just wait here.
Alright. You're not gonna eat?
I have a bunch of allergies.
It's because you youngins don't eat proper. You won't become strong if you don't have a balanced diet.
Hey, I was lying, but telling actual allergy sufferers that they should just eat and they'd be cured was actual murder. Well, there were some efforts to cure allergies by carefully injecting the allergens via vaccine, but that was a subject for the doctor. Anyway, going back to the dorm by myself was dangerous, since they suspect me, so I just waited in the corner of the room, still hungry. Where are Yasunaga-kun and Haru-chan?
Still upstairs? Oh, don't mind them. Your food will get cold. More!
I'll go call them. I'm a little afraid of what's gonna happen here. I went up the stairs, and when I reached the second floor, I stopped for a moment. I heard some rustling. Was it possible they got that intimate in just a few minutes? Was I about to ruin the mood? Well, food is important too. I said, to get their attention and slowly went up, making sure I was loud enough for them to hear me coming. It's lunchtime. Oh? Yasunaga-kun?
Ah! Hello!
The room was full of stuff. It was a huge mess. You looking for something? No luck, huh?
Yeah, I was told there was a new apron in the attic, but we couldn't find it there, so we were checking other places too.
So that was it.
Did you see?
Huh?
Could you not tell anyone about this?
Well, I did come up carefully, so it's not like I saw anything. I shouldn't have. Were you going at it?
Freaking...
Fusashi! You don't... Okay.
What are you saying?
I'm just kidding. I know you wouldn't do something like that at a time like this.
Of course we wouldn't. Yeah.
Really now? I was still kind of worried. Anyway, why not take a break and get some food? They didn't argue. As we prepared to go back... Oh, Jesus. There's a loud noise from downstairs.
What?
Yasunaga-kun and I looked at each other and then ran out of the room without saying a word. We were met with a strange scene. I instantly realized what had happened and who was responsible. Oh god, why? Kiyonosuke was wearing a furious expression, his shoulders shaking. There was a shattered plate of rice gruel on his feet. The contents were still steaming. He was facing Kyori Oribe-san, who was standing completely still. Did he throw his food to the floor? Was it that bad? No way. This is clearly something way bigger than that.
What's gotten into you?
Chiime and the others didn't seem to understand either. They shifted uneasily. Ane?
What?
Wolf's Bane! The plant! There's arcanite in the food! What? Wait, Miko-chan, did you eat any?
But not yet.
What about the rest of you? Wait, hold on. I'm so lost. Is that true? Look at these leaves. They shine. The other side isn't white and the tip is pointy. They smell different too. This isn't mugwort or windflower.
You're right. It's wolfsbane.
You used wild plants, Mom?
Yes.
That was close. What a mistake. Someone almost got poisoned. She wants to kill us.
Huh? Wait. It was just a mistake. That's it. Don't be so cruel.
Haru-chan stopped talking when she realized the suspect was acting strange. Oh, God. Kaori-san was staring right at Kiyonosuke-shi, not moving an inch, and smiling. She was completely glaring him down.
Yes.
Yes? That response was so delayed we had no idea what it was for. When Kiyonosuke-shi backed up a bit, his expression shifted from rage to fear. Mom? Oh, Jesus Christ in heaven, no. I knew I couldn't trust this bitch. You should all die. As she stood there, wailing madly, she brandished a knife. She was hardly moving quickly. By the sight of the blade had stunted our reflexes. I'd seen some bizarre corpses here. I'd bore witness to what pure malice could do. But still living, blatant malevolence, killing intent, was intense enough to paralyze everyone present. I barely registered the scene unfolding before me. Staggering a bit, the woman passed the counter. The sharp knife was still green with something, likely shavings of arcanite. She raised her voice and aimed her poisoned weapon at the nearest target, Kiyonosuke-san. Damn. I knew I should have stopped the video when he was going up the stairs, but I think this is even better. We have another choice to make. And this is gonna branch out like crazy. But now I gotta think about what's gonna lead me to an ending. And frankly, I feel like if I tackle her, I might get hit instead. So I might go with that next time. But either way, that is going to be for the next episode because I am tired. It is late, and I still need to do some stuff. So next time, ladies and gentlemen, we will make our choice, and we'll see what the hell is gonna happen. So, as usual, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time for Let's Play Raging Loop. Love you all so much. Have a great day.